Alright, I'll give you a week 3 and week 4 update here. Currently I'm at Dixie Campground in Oregon, but just got done collecting some firewood. Haven't quite started the fire yet, but wait until the sun goes down. So I started off in Bighorn National Forest, and that was beautiful. First time in real mountains on the trip. Only thing that I would suggest there would be going to James T. Sabin Fire Lookout Point. Give you a good 360-degree view. It was really cool watching the clouds, the shadows of the clouds over the forest just kind of move around. That was pretty sweet. After that, I went to Lander, Wyoming, right on the coast of the not on the coast, but the edge of the forest there, national forest of like the Tetons and whatnot. Not quite to the Tetons, but that mountain range. And I first night there, I tried to do some laundry and had a hell of a time doing that because they were trying to close down early while I was still trying to dry my laundry. So I went out and had a beer. Right, trying to have one beer. Good luck with that. And met some realtors that I found out were showing Kanye West around the next day by helicopter. So, and they were on a hunting trip. I don't know how they, work and play. Interesting guys. So I did some hiking the next day in a canyon nearby. I checked out the Sinks and the Rise, which is the only real thing to see around Lander. But that canyon is really beautiful that the Sinks is the beginning of. If you go in a little bit deeper, you can get to Fossil Hill, and I hiked up to the top of that and had to do a little bit of free solo climbing to get to the very top. And that was one of the best views I've had so far on the trip. Again, 360-degree view, gorgeous. So it was Thursday night, and the Packers were playing, so I went out to watch that at the local sports bar, and I ran into Mark, who I asked him if he was there for the football or for the beer, and he raised the beer up and was like, "I play real body football." And from that point, I knew we were going to be friends. He ended up being from Wales, so I had to tell him about how I had been there the year before and had backpacked through Europe and whatnot. And we started getting along great, barely watched the game. Unfortunately, it was the Eagles game, so it wasn't a great one to watch. So they told me about City Park in Lander, which apparently lets you camp there for free overnight. So I got to stay there. Just slept in my car, of course. And met up with Mark the next day, and we went out drinking and met a few of his friends, and got to know Sofal, my Cambodian friend, bartender from the End Zone. That was the name of the bar that Mark and I met at. And yeah, they wanted me to come back, but I couldn't because I got chased away by the snow. So it started raining there. I got chased away from the snow in Jackson, but it started raining there, so I wanted to move on and keep driving. And I pushed all the way on through the night, or late into the day, till the night, into Jackson Hole, and went to the visitors center, and the guy working there ended up being from Wisconsin, so we got along just fine, and he told me of a good spot where I could go get some food. And since it was late and raining, I wasn't really looking forward to trying to find one of the dispersed camping spots. So I decided, I went to the bar where he suggested to go get food. It ended up being an Eagles bar, which hurt to go to. But met what I thought was a couple there, and they told me and talking to the bartender too, and they told me that it really wasn't a big deal if I slept in my car in Jackson. I had heard that it was a problem and it wasn't good to sleep in your car in Jackson, but they assured me it wasn't a big deal and told me a good area of the city where it would be chill. So I went down and parked my car, and then it wasn't that late, so I went out downtown. It was Saturday night, so I was like, well, I'm in town, might as well go out for a beer. Again, a beer. Never happens. So ended up at the Rose, which was a really classy bar, and there was like nobody there. And then all of a sudden, I was like telling him how classy it was, and the bartender just looks at me and is like, it's about to get not classy in here. I was like, oh boy, here we go. And sure enough, less than an hour later, it was just packed with younger people just ordering, 6 or 10 Modelo's at a time in cans, and instead of the nice drinks that they served there. And I ended up meeting Braden there, who didn't seem too bad when I first started talking to him. But he got pretty wasted by the end of the night. It was probably the Sailor Jerry's rum and cokes mixed with tequila shots. That'll do the trick. And so I had to keep him from fighting people, which was fun. And then, so I wasn't quite sure about him at first, but we had exchanged Instagram info. So the next day I just drove around a lot. Since I had a late night, I just kind of wanted to see most of the park from the car. I didn't really want to do that much hiking. Just kind of little walking around and whatnot. And I ended up seeing I got out of my car on the side of the road, on like a back road, just to take a picture of the fall colors, because there was like really cool reds and yellows and oranges and greens and whatnot. And I saw that there was like a little opening, and I thought I saw a bear there. So I ran back to my car, grabbed my binoculars, and ran back to my spot, and just standing there looking through my binoculars. I finally found it. It turned out to be a bull moose. But I looked around, and like next thing I knew, there was like 10 people behind me, all with binoculars, just like, "What are you looking at? What are you looking at?" And I was like, "It's over there. It's really hard to see." But most of them saw it. But so that was interesting. So I did this dispersed camping outside of Teton Park, kind of on the east side, northeast side, more east side. And man, the Tetons are just insane. They are so beautiful, and you just feel so small compared to them. Pictures don't do it justice, and words don't either, but the best way I can describe it is like they are giant kings sitting on their thrones, like looking down at you as like a little ant, and you're just like nothing to them. And that's about as best as I can describe it. The only other thing that I can think of that, like, to put it in perspective is those mountains stop clouds. It's like they stop the clouds. Like, that's insane. So, yeah, if you have never been, get to Grand Teton National Park. It is awesome.